Mm-hmm. Greeting, my villagers. Greetings, my villagers. Pray all is well when I know it's not, but it wasn't all well when Jesus walked amongst the suffering, nor when Moses faced Pharaoh, nor when the prophet Muhammad endured hardship, nor when our ancestors cried through bondage and oppression. Yet, through every storm, faith, unity, and perseverance carried them forward. And so it shall be with us. We too will make it, and I dare say come out triumphantly on the other side. But how do we do that in these present times? That is to vote and pray. You all know we are in the midst of voting season. And we hear that all politics is local, and it is right upon us. There's voting going on tomorrow. And I'm telling you now, I've got that Harriet Tubman spirit in me. You will be free or, well, no excuses for not voting. You're either with us or against us. And in our community, I need to say no more. It's serious, y'all. See, I'm your elder from the silent generation. But of course, I'm never silent. You know, I missed slavery by a minute, but I did experience segregation, Jim Crow, KKK, Reagan, and Trump before he stole this last election. Well, we've got to get our game on. My guest today is a young lady from the area. You know, we ask our young people to get involved, you know. We always say, you know, get involved wherever. Start somewhere. And she had thrown her hat in, running for council in the first ward. Now, I'm not in that ward, but I'm going to be out there talking to my kinfolk. That's my bonus granddaughter, you know, anyway. So it's a little personal. But even if it were not, I encourage young people and ask the question that our ancestor, Brother Joe Madison, always asked. What you gonna do about it? Well, see, we expect our young people to take hold. When we do that, we got to support them. You know? So this young lady had decided to throw her hat in the ring. And I'm declaring right now, she will, remember I said that, she will be our president one of these days. So you need to know her now. Go out and vote for her. Then you have the opportunity to say, I voted for you then. So we're going to be expecting everybody to get out and vote. And although I can't tell you who to vote for, I'm not going to. I know who I'm going to vote for. But I will say, always know that when our young people are involved, and so we got to support them because they are the future. But right now, let me thank my team. I want to thank Sheila, my producer, And of course, thank Juanita. I hope she's back off vacation. She was down there in North Carolina visiting relatives. But I want to thank her, my advisor. And of course, Tony, he sends in these great clippings that you have the opportunity to present to you. And my promo crew, Chastity and Halim. And our engineer, Storm and Norm. How about that? He's always here for us. My co-host, Rose Moore. Appreciate seeing you. She had just come off a cruise a couple of weeks ago. And when we hear about what's happening with the this cruise out in the middle of the water, with this thing going on, I thought about her. She had just come back, so welcome back. Now, and I'm Ruby Williams Shivers, your unapologetic amateur, still looking for experts in Africanism. And we're going to continue to look for those folks. You'll look out for I'm doing a documentary, and the documentary is on 3 different subject matter, but the most important one is the one that I'm requested, that our experts, that when I say automatic, I'm an amateur looking for experts in Africanism, I define that as such, because we have a whole lot of experts, a whole lot of them. They've done great work. They've been researching and diagnosing. And there's Dr. DeGroy that has the post-traumatic slave syndrome. Well, I'm suggesting what we need to do is to treat our injuries the way an oncologist would treat cancer or a cardiologist would treat heart disease. It is slavery. I'll say that, I repeat it, was not just a crime. Slavery was an injury done to us. So until we understand that from that perspective, that's one of the reasons I coined the phrase African Slave Virus 401. When we understand that, the seriousness of it, we'll see that we need to get institutionalized things in a way that the oncologists go and study together. We all have good people who are doing things singularly. But when we get to the point that we know it needs to be institutionalized, need to be in colleges, need to be whatever, so we'll know that we are now looking for cures for what ails us, tending to for what ails us. Right. But now, I'm going to do this first. I have a tape I'm going to run about voting, and you might hear. Well, this one you won't hear, maybe the cursing. I've had another one that you might, and I just want to warn you. But the message is more important than the cursing. Mm-hmm. So we're going to run the tape, then we're going to bring our guests on. Okay.
So one of the lines that gets quoted to me the most from Scandal is Papa Pope's line, "You have to be twice as good to get half of what they have." And I think that is because for Black people in this country, that isn't just a line from a show, that is our reality. And 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court showed us an example of why. So I want to help you understand this. In case you don't know, here's what happened. A while back, Louisiana's legislature was ordered by their courts to redraw their voting map so that Black voters had real representation. That sounds great, right? Good. So they drew a map that gave Black people a real chance to be represented in Congress in fair numbers. But now the Supreme Court has ruled that map is suddenly unconstitutional. And the thing is, the ruling doesn't just impact Louisiana. That decision gutted a key part of the Voting Rights Act, which is the law that has protected us, Black communities, from having our voting power drained away from us since 1965. Why am I talking about this? Okay, the midterms are coming. And there are people in power who are redrawing lots of maps to make our votes matter even less, to make it twice as hard for our voices to be heard and for people like us to be in power. So what do? I'm so glad you asked. And I know that you're going to save this post. You're going to text it to 4 friends, maybe 8 friends, because you got to be twice as good. Number 1, know your and by your I mean your district. Find out who represents you, because maps are being redrawn right now. And that answer may be about to change. So NAACP LDF, Democracy Docket, Black Voters Matter, they are all tracking this in real time, fighting back in the courts and in communities. Follow them. We'll help you follow them. Okay, now number 2, show up. Register to vote and bring your whole circle with you. School boards, city councils, state legislatures. That is where this fight is actually happening. I mean, the big splashy races, they matter, but these races, these local races, they need you for real. Number 3, make noise. You got to call your representatives. At 5 calls, they give you a script, they connect you directly, they make it easy. We'll help you find that. Number 4, share this video. We need everybody in this fight because they are counting on us being too tired and too confused and too defeated. They want us to think that we can't make a difference. So we have to prove them wrong, even if we have to work twice as hard to do it. So one of the lines.
Great information. Now, I played the tape to let you know everybody knows that the game is on. The game is on, and we just got to be in the game and stay in the game and work the game better than they do. Now, right now, my co-host, Queen Rose Moore, will introduce our guest, and we will hear from her.
Good afternoon, villagers. Good afternoon. I'm so glad it's warming up in our neck of the woods.
Do you have the bio?
No, I don't have
Okay,
the
well,
bio.
here, let me just read this here. This is her. You
Okay.
can read it from there.
Bear with me because I got this recently. Dr. Yasmin Griffin, and she is a beautiful young lady, I must say that,
Yes.
is a long life resident of Plainfield, New Jersey. Probably know my children. Holding a doctorate of education. She is running as a first-time candidate for City Council in Plainfield, 1st Ward. She is running on the Vote E ticket in the June 2nd municipal election. So we want everybody to come out. You want this?
I'm just going to hit this for a
Let
minute.
her.
Okay, just community first development, preventing overdevelopment and ensuring that new projects directly benefit current residents rather than pricing them out. Very important. Housing and transparency, establishing clear safeguards and better communication between homeowners and tenants. Very good. Block investment, focusing on sanitation improvements, sustainable parking, and flood mitigation to protect neighborhoods during heavy rain. Now, that's enough for me to want to vote for her right away. I'm going to let her come on. We're going to have Dr. Griffin on and have her to come on and tell us what she intends to do for us here in Plainfield when she gets elected. Welcome, Dr. Yasmin.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here to have the opportunity to talk to you guys about the campaign and about what I plan to do.
Okay.
So I want to start with why I'm running.
Okay.
As you mentioned, I'm a lifelong resident of Plainfield, born and raised here. And I had the opportunity to be reared here through great programs, through great community. And I look at this as my opportunity to pour back into the community that gave me so much. So you listed off all of the campaign points that I've been talking to the constituents about as I've been canvassing over the past few weeks. And the first one is community first development. That was something that I've heard abundantly from my neighbors. People are very concerned about the developments that are coming up, and not just about them coming up, but what are they pouring back into the community? They're here. We need development because we need to make sure that our community is not blighted. We need to make sure that our spaces look great. However, when these developers come into our community, they're coming in and they're collecting rent from our constituents, high rent at that. What I'm going to be advocating for is for them to pour benefits like community resources into our community, such as grant funding for youth programs, grant funding for senior programs. I'm really looking to see how developers plan to invest into the people in the community.
Very good.
Very
Very
good.
good.
Now, you mentioned the youth program. You are currently in the educational system.
Space, yeah.
You're a teacher. Talk about that, because I know you will have an interest in moving our young people forward and preparing for them and sustaining them in whatever effort you can.
So the youth is near and dear to my heart. I've been an educator for 10 years. I'm currently the director of curriculum and instruction at Barack Obama Green Charter Schools on Watchung Avenue. And in that role, one of the things that I do is I shape curriculum. I shape what our students are learning, and I usher them into the world. That said, one of the areas that I would love to see the city work more on is bringing in career-focused programs, bringing in more mentorship programs for the youth, so that they have an avenue and a pathway, or they have information about avenues and pathways that they can take once they graduate high school.
Excellent. I know you're motivated now to do what you're doing. I mean, before it initially motivated you to get into the direction or education and now politics.
You're asking what motivated me?
Yes, what motivated you?
So I've always been into politics. I've always paid attention to not just local politics, but national politics, global politics. I worked on a number of different voter registration drives. I led voter registration drives because I understood, and I love that you mentioned earlier, the value and the importance of local elections. I want to say Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama's first term was when I really got out there and started registering voters to vote, because we needed to get the people out there to vote, and we needed them to understand why they should go out and vote.
Absolutely.
That said, that is where I really became interested in how local elections impact the day-to-day living of individuals within a community. So right now, my focus and why I'm really interested is because I understand the importance of local elections. We have the opportunity as elected officials at the local level to shape the way our community looks, to shape the way our community thrives. So I have a voice. I have a strong voice, and I want to be able to use it. I didn't go and get a doctorate degree for no reason.
And
So
I
I want to take everything that I've been able to garner as far as education and just becoming a lifelong learner and pour it back into the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
excellent. And now that you mentioned your doctorate, that's an interesting story. I love to hear the story of how you and your mom got the doctorate at the same time. So tell us a little bit about that. It's jumping a little bit away from politics, but it's politics too. That's what it's all about in our community.
So I had just completed a master's program in education, and my mom told me, I've signed up to go to this interest meeting for the doctorate of education program at Kane University. And she actually signed up with one of her colleagues who was also my teacher at Hubbard Middle School. And, I said to my mom, "You're not going to go and get a doctorate degree without me. I'm coming with you too." So I went to the meeting. We filled out the application. We went through the process, and we came through the program together. And it was really a blessing for the three of us to move through the program together, because a doctoral program is not easy.
Yeah.
And we used each other to support each other and push each other through the program. So it was a definitely it was a laborious process to get through the program, but having that support of my mother and Mrs. Emmanuel in the background saying, "No, we can't quit," that got us through.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm always interested in that story because it's just so fascinating to me when I learned that they both would. And you mentioned that you've been in this in the business, for lack of a better word. You're both educational and politics now. For the last, you say, what, 10 years, 20 years? What did you say?
10 years. Well,
10
it's going on 11 years.
Well,
I'm coming up on 11 years now.
Yeah, because time goes by so quickly and fast. Because it's the same that was just yesterday when you were, had gotten your doctorate and
Yeah.
everything, and you don't look much more than 20
Yeah,
yourself.
she looks like a baby.
Yeah, right. So it's interesting, but I'm always encouraged. We say that our young people need to get out and do things, and our ancestor, the late brother Joe Madison, always asked the question, "What you gonna do now?" And so when people are out trying to do and attempting to do, I'm always encouraged by that. So that means that we still understand the seriousness of us getting out into community. So I understand that you will be having what would you call it?
A rally?
Not a rally.
Campaign?
You're campaigning. You want to mention that, where you will be and when it will be?
What are you referring? Well, there is a debate coming up.
Yeah,
I do want to
debate.
let
I was
everyone
trying
know.
to
There's a debate coming up on Thursday. It's being held at Sindell's bookstore
Oh, great.
on Watch Avenue.
Mhm.
It's not open to the public to attend, but it will be streamed live on all social media platforms and also on YouTube. The community is encouraged to submit questions for the candidates to answer. So I'll be there. The current sitting councilman, Robert Graham, who is currently for the first ward, will be there, as well as the other individual running against us, Meg, as well as Shatira Smith and Richard Wyatt, who are running against each other for the second and third ward at large.
Yes.
Okay. All right. You
I
have
got a question.
Mhm.
Absolutely. This young lady is fascinating.
Yes. By all
And
means.
there's a reason why statistics shows that there are more black women, educated black women in the United States than any other. So kudos to you, and even more kudos to mom, because at my age, I went back to school to get a master's in psychology, and I'm
you're still
retired.
in school, right?
And I'm still in school because which brings me to the point of my question, when I went back and I was working on that, I got into social justice, because the more I wrote, the more I learned the social sciences that inform our institutions of the issues that usually get to the lower courts. I understand that government, or real government, that impacts us the most is local government. And so that being said, kudos to you, young lady, for having a heart and a burden to inform and encourage the young folks, and to establish a pathway in your campaign promises, a pathway so that they could take the mantle.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And this is what I love about this podcast, and this is why I support this podcast, because of the work of the host, Ruby Shiver, who also have a heart and a burden to make sure that our youth, who is going to take the mantle and come behind us and uphold the very things like they're trying to destroy, like the voting that, what's his name, John recently died, from the civil rights movement. What's his name, John? You know,
John Lewis.
John Lewis.
John Lewis.
Worked so hard to establish, and now they're trying to roll those things back. But
and they're doing it
yeah, but
as we speak.
listen, no weapon formed against us shall prosper.
That's for sure.
It may be formed, and it might go forth, but it's not going to prosper. But what is needed is an aspect of social justice, and that's what I wanted to ask you about, in terms of just of the teachers that you know, because you probably know my kids, they're McCalls. They came up through Cook School, and then Plainfield High, Bianca, Tanya, and then after, they're like in their 40s now. And then after that, they all went to college, and they're, living their life right now. But as far as informing the young people, do you have any support from the teachers? Are they informed? Because I'm quite sure I know a lot of these teachers that are still there. Many have left. retired like Pastor Robinson, but Wilbert Robinson, but they have a vested interest. That's what I'm saying. Do you have any support of these teachers? Are you visiting the churches? You know, those sort of things, because I know the parents of these Plainfielders, because I too raised my kid. I've been here since what? This early 75. I've been here since 75.
I've been here since, I think, when was that? When did I come in? I think 79.
All
I
right
came to
then. So
Plainfield in
we're
79.
long-term people, and I know a lot of these teachers, and John Campbell and his wife Wilma Campbell, who have served on the committees. So what I'm even though the Wyatts, you know, but what I'm asking is, do you have a plan to bring in the support of other educators in this particular town?
Absolutely. So my mom, she's been an educator in Plainfield Public Schools for over 25 years.
Okay.
She's currently an assistant principal at Maxon Middle School. So I'm getting definitely a lot of good support, a lot of good feedback from educators about the campaign. Hopefully, what I'm looking for is a lot of people they want more, right? They want to hear more about what I plan to do. And I'm hoping that the debate that happens on
Yes.
Thursday allows for them to hear more about what my goals are and how I plan to push our community forward.
All right, thank you so much, and we're on board, because I will be listening,
Yeah.
and I will be passing on the information.
Now you mentioned, and I know we do expect our people sometimes to do more than they even have the authority to do. What can you do as a council person for your area when people are asking you, do this, do that, the other? What are, I know you had mentioned before, I want to hear again, what are some of the things that they expect you to do that you can do, and what are some things you can't do? Well, they say all politics local, we know that, but there's some things just that we maybe outside of your jurisdiction.
Right, there's a hierarchy. Right.
So as a council person in a ward, I represent that ward. So I represent Plainfield, but I would be representing that ward.
Yeah, right.
So I would be receiving concerns and issues from the neighbors, and I would need to take that forth to the city and to my colleagues on the council to rectify any issues or problems that we see. So, for example, some of the things that council people get called for would be issues with roads, making sure that the roads are paved well. One of the points that I made is block by block investment, and one of the major issues in the first ward is flooding. So I would need to go and I would need to work with the city to work on flooding mitigation. How do we make it sustainable? Not just a thing where we fix it and then the next season, that rain season comes and the community is flooded out again.
Yes.
How do we really get contractors in to do studies to figure out how we fix and mitigate the problem in a more sustainable way?
Wow.
Yeah,
Very good.
Yeah, those are some of the things that people are very
Yeah, very
interested
good.
in.
People have lost lives in this
Yeah.
town.
And,
you know, from
and the council, they vote on policies, they vote on local laws. So it would be for me to listen to what the constituents in the first ward needs and vote in the way on the council, the way the first ward is asking for the vote. Of course, there may be things that can't be done, or there may be things that the constituents are asking for that might not be doable
Right.
at the time or at the moment. But it will also be up to me to have communication and transparency and dialogue in order to educate the individuals in the ward about what can and cannot be done at the local level.
So, Dr. Yasmin, just what are your areas? I mean, I know you use the first ward. What is the first ward? What are some of the streets? I know some of the streets in Plainfield. I'm not kind of ignorant to that, the local.
So the first ward runs from Terrell Road, if you start on Terrell Road, and it runs all the way down until up to Central Avenue.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's pretty far down. So,
Yeah.
and it also includes Front Street to about Fifth Street.
Mhm.
So it's a pretty large
Yes, it
ward.
is. It's a large
Covers a
area.
lot of ground.
Right, right. Well, that's excellent. So we'll be looking forward. In the meantime, I got some more questions for you, but I want you, Norm, to bring up my villagers so we can see who's listening, and so I'll be able to point them out when I need them to get out and do what they need to do. Okay, well, let me who we have. Reverend Clyde Dunning, good afternoon, villager. Robert Cabbage on deck. Juanita McClure, Salam Alaikum, watching and listening. Great. George Jackson, California, good afternoon. Well, you can't help us out here, but you can, I'm always pleased to see your name up there knowing that you're supporting us. Jabbar Sadana, my nephew from North Carolina. I'm tuned in, Auntie. Okay, that is great. Always good to know we have people supporting us. And for you all who are here, be sure that each one teach one. You know, when you know that we're coming on, we always have great information for you,
Yes.
because that's the nature of our podcast here.
Yeah.
You know, I always quote the scripture that said, "My people will perish for lack of knowledge," and we kind of intend that not to happen. We are going to bring you knowledge, and we're going to bring you good information. We're going to bring you information that's going to edify us and move us forward in a positive way.
Yeah.
Now, Doctor, I'm always tempted to call him by our first name. Dr. Yasmin, give us some idea of how people in general can come and assist you, help you move in the direction that you're trying to go.
So right now we are doing a lot of canvassing, a lot of knocking on doors. Our campaign team is really small, and we need to knock on as many doors in the first ward as possible. It is my first time running, so, and though I am a lifelong resident, a lot of people are saying, well, we want her to knock on our door. We don't exactly know who she is. We may have seen her out and about, but we want to talk to her about her campaign. So it would be helpful if I could get more people to come out and assist with canvassing. Also, campaigning is not a cheap thing to do. So any donations that come in, it doesn't matter, small or large, they make a big difference in getting to the finish line.
Yes.
So right now, the two major things that our campaign is looking for with support is canvassing, knocking on doors, and then of course donations. We also have lawn signs. So if anyone is interested in supporting the campaign, they've been hearing my campaign points and they're in line with what we're talking about, I open it up for them to get a lawn sign and display it on their lawn. We'll drop it right off to them.
Right.
Wonderful.
So how can people donate to you? What the avenues by which they will donate?
So there's an online link that I have, and I can share it with you.
Right.
There's an online link that I have, and people have pretty much primarily been donating virtually, but we accept donations in all ways.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
And I hear that our new mayor in New York, how he came aboard and so unexpectedly, but he had the folks out there, beating the pavement. And I know that you just said you want volunteers to come out. So that's what the campaigns are all about today. In addition to the money that is very expensive now to run a campaign, but you need volunteers to come out and do the footwork.
Yes.
And the people, they are the constituents. They want to hear from you. That's one of the major things that I've learned out on the campaign trail. They want you to be at their door. They want to have those conversations.
Right.
And canvassing has been, I want to say, one of the most enjoyable things that I've done, because it allowed for me to get out and really hear what the community, specifically in the first ward, needs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. Excellent.
Yeah. So another question I had, but this is sort of off politics, just a little bit about your personal self. What your You're a very young lady, and I know this is an effort. I mean, for even us older ones, but to interfere with your whatever young people do these days, it's just admirable that you're
Yes.
out there so young and so
Yes.
energetic. Do you miss any of the things that you could be doing as a young person? Just give us a hint of how that's working out.
Yes.
Absolutely. Of course. Of course. It's
Sacrifice.
very time consuming. I have to be out canvassing every single day. I'm big on, I'm very big on self-care and, being able to take the time to rest. But right now I don't have the time to rest
Right,
because I
right.
have an election to win.
Yes.
So of course I miss
And
my,
students to teach. So you at
yeah,
the same time you're out there on the school
Yeah.
circuit
Right.
teaching students.
Right. And emotional intelligence. You
Right.
have to have that EI also too, because you're going to deal with all kinds of people, all kinds of energy, all kinds of vibes coming
Yeah.
at you. And but we also have God.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the ultimate.
I'm sorry I interrupted you, so go on with what you were saying. How you're
well,
moving it.
what I will say is you mentioned emotional intelligence. And one of the things I didn't decide to run for city council like at the whim of things. I really thought about it and I really thought about how it would impact my day-to-day life.
Right.
But again, I still made the decision to do it because there's a need for it.
Right, right.
That said, I still have boundaries, right?
Right.
If I feel as though I need to take a step back and reload,
Right.
I've been doing my due diligence to
Excellent.
stay emotionally healthy and
Yes,
emotionally
yes.
sound.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent.
Because I can't run a winning campaign if I'm running on fumes,
Right. There you go.
Right. So how have you been I'll put the word I want, not welcomed by other,
Been received?
received is the word I want. How have you been received by other,
The constituents so far.
well, not just the constituents, but since you're running against competition and
Oh,
all.
oh,
How is that running?
Okay.
It can kind of
It's been-
wear you out sometimes.
It's been, I want to say it's been really calm, actually.
Okay.
I expected it to be a little bit more rocky, but it's been really calm so far.
Good.
Fingers crossed.
That's
we have a
good
few more
sign.
weeks to
Good.
go.
That's a
Yeah.
good sign.
Yeah, the politics these days is not friendly at
And
all.
people
You
are
see-
waking up.
Yeah.
That's another thing. People are waking
Well,
up.
within the Democratic Party, it's always been a little bit more civil than outside.
Yeah, of course.
And when you look at the outside folks doing what they're doing, I guess that's why I was asking the question. We haven't gotten there yet, and I hope we never will. But they are like, it's a blood sport for them.
Yeah.
So we know that politics today is just not what it was, 20 years ago. And to get in the mix.
We have a few more weeks to go. The debate is here. I know there's going to be another forum right before the election. So I expect for there to be more of an uptick with intensity, but right now it's been pretty calm. As it relates to the constituents and the door knocking and being able to talk to individuals, I'm getting a lot of great feedback about my campaign specifically. People are eager for a new voice.
Change. That's right.
People are eager for change. People want a new voice to sit in the first ward. I believe that is overwhelmingly the conversations that I've had. And I'm hoping that people come out and vote on June 2nd and make me that strong voice to be able to advocate and push forward for them in the first ward.
Absolutely.
Yes. You have any questions?
No, she is like so thorough.
Yeah.
She is on point and so thorough, and it is so necessary to have such a vivacious, committed voice.
And what
Really.
I'm always excited about when I learned that she was with the Barack Obama school system. That interests me.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, because that combined with what you're doing politically, you can't beat it. You know, both in the school and in politics. It's just a winning to me for a person like you who's so dedicated,
Yeah.
so interested in the community. You know, you can't beat that. And so, how is that working out with you running now for this office and maintaining your the ability to move the school forward?
Well, so I started my career at the school as an English teacher. And one of the foundational visions and a part of the mission of the school is for our students to be involved in global citizenship. So it's not too far removed where we're advocating every single year for our students to be informed and be aware about what's going on in their community and in the community in Plainfield, but in the community at large. In the United States and in the global community. So it wasn't a shocker for any of my colleagues at work to hear that I had put my hat in the race to run. Everyone knew how committed I was, not just to the community of Plainfield, because of how long I chose to stay and work in my community. However, they knew how passionate I was about informing and educating our students about the importance of elections and the importance of understanding what's going on with politics. So, for example, I've probably done 4 or 5 voter registration drives at the school with students who are going to be eligible to vote.
Right.
Actually, the state of New Jersey requires that schools register students to vote, but we make sure that every single year we're getting our students registered to vote. And I've been at the forefront of that initiative. So it wasn't a lot of disconnect. I didn't really have to make a hard, tough decision, because this has been at the root of what I've been doing as an educator already. It's a part of the mission of the school.
Excellent. Again, I'm just excited about you, young people getting involved. Now, that's not to make slack on the older one. Elder, I'm an elder myself. I don't intend, I'm from the silent generation, I tell people, but I don't ever intend to be silent until God calls me home. So that is not to dismiss our elders in it. We just got to connect. The youth got to connect with the elder to move us forward. Because unlike, I'm in the process of doing a documentary as I speak, and the documentary I'm doing is threefold. The first is to educate our people, but when I say our people, particularly the African American people, about the maintaining of elders in anything we do. Because if we sever that connection, then we'll run the risk of going back and losing all that we have gained. But at the same time, I encourage our young people to come in and get involved, like what you're saying, and that's not at all to say we need to, elders need to sit on the side. It just that we need to allow our young people to become part of the situation, that when we need to sit on the side, they will have someone in back of us. So make no mistake about it. I'm not trying to suggest that the elders should sit back down.
Interestingly, in Plainfield, our elder and senior community, that's a large group of individuals who come out and vote in Plainfield. So that's a wonderful thing. What we really need to push for is for young adults to get out and get to the polls and vote.
Yes.
Really, we push for them to go and vote in our national elections, but there needs to be more voter education to help younger individuals understand the importance of local and state elections.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you that. How will you suggest that become our effort? How could we do that different from what we've been doing?
Well, it starts with individuals like me. It starts with individuals who are taking up the mantle to run. and gathering them. But you know, our young folks, they want to come out and they want to have fun. So it
Yeah.
could be done through a number of different things. They love food and they love music.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
getting them out in I want to say in environments that they enjoy being at, but making it a dual opportunity where we give them the opportunity to have fun and fellowship and eat, but we
Right.
also take the opportunity to talk to them about when these local elections are coming and who's going to be running, and also inviting the individuals who are going to be running to come and talk to them.
Right. Right.
So
Uh-huh.
I really think it's about meeting them where they are.
Yes.
So we need to find out where they are and we need to go to them and
Yes.
talk to them.
That's an excellent idea because we do need them to get involved. Let me ask you about the present day situation with our election. Give us some insight of what you're thinking about. What you think as a young person getting into this system, what you see in terms of even the broader election, you know,
So
what are your longest?
I'll start with the current um, race for Senate that we have, where our Mayor Mapp, he wants to go to Washington. He wants to become a senator. That said, I don't know who I'm going to vote for of the individuals who are running. I've been doing my due diligence to educate myself on all of the platform and campaign points of the individuals running for Senate. So I will say again, I will reiterate again, state elections are just as important as our national and presidential elections.
Right.
So I encourage everyone. I know that Mayor Mapp is really popular, but I encourage everyone to not just look at his campaign platform, go and take a look at the other individuals who are running and make an
Yes.
educated decision about
Yes. Critical thinking. Yes.
who you're going to vote for. But number one, the most important thing is get to the polls and vote on June
Yes.
2nd.
Yes.
That said, I would like to touch on these lines being redrawn and impacting voting and where people are voting. It's disheartening.
Right.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
it's disheartening. We mentioned John Lewis. There were many freedom fighters who are now ancestors who did the work and did the due diligence to get out in the streets and fight for our right to vote,
Yeah.
fight for our right to be a voice in politics. And it's very disheartening to see the people in power now
Yes.
try to break that down piece by piece by piece. But I'll go back to, that's why it's important for us to get out to these polls. That's why it's important when we have individuals who are running for to be elected, for us to get out and challenge them, go and talk to them and really ask them, what do you plan to do for
That's right.
our community?
That's
How do you plan to make a difference for our community? How do you plan to protect our community?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Now, I know you don't know, and I don't know, it's a guess, but looking at the situation as we see it now, with all we know about the 2025 plan, that they're really using that.
Yes.
And it's no joke. They're not hiding it. It's out in the open what
That's
they're
right.
trying to do. So what is your opinion? What you think going to happen with us in this voting stuff? I mean, it seemed to me that it's a desire, not a desire, desire, an effort on their part to continue to steal the election. So what are
I'm
we doing,
hoping
and what should we be doing as a Democratic Party against? I won't even say Republican Party. There's no Republican Party anymore. It's Trump Party. There's no Republican, so we
Right.
can't move in the same direction we've been doing. We're gonna have to go to go to the chess game with chess parts, and not with the other way around.
I'm hoping that we can turn the map blue in this upcoming election season and get individuals back into seats to really be able to vote these policies down. That is my greatest hope. And again, that takes me back to get out to the polls. We have to get out to the polls and we have to vote to turn the map back blue.
Right. Because there are those who would say, well, my vote don't count. What is your answer for that? You know, there are folks who make that statement, my vote don't count.
My answer to that, I mean, frankly, that is ludicrous. But it would go back to having to educate individuals about why their vote count and how their vote is being impacted. But that takes me back to state elections, local
Right.
elections. The individuals at the state, the individuals in those local elections are the individuals who can help go to Washington and really be the voice for the people. So number one, we got to get the people in the seats locally who will be able to stand up against these policies.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And one of the, I guess the answer to that would be, too, if the vote didn't count, you wouldn't have folks working so hard to keep them away from us. That
This
alone
is
should
true.
tell you, if the vote didn't count, you wouldn't have folks working day and night, spending all kind of money to keep the votes away from us. So without trying to define or delineate certain things the vote count for, just think of it that way. For those of you who are asking the question or is making a statement, my vote does not count. Well, if it didn't count, we wouldn't be in the position we're in, fighting tooth and nail to keep the votes away from us. That's one of the answers. But
That is absolutely true.
yeah. So have you in your in your association with the community that you're associating with now in your ward, do you find that to be one of the issues that you find you're going to have a problem with? People coming out to vote, not who they're voting for, just the fact that they get off their chairs, out of their chairs, and come vote.
I haven't had anyone say to me that their vote doesn't count. I haven't heard that
Okay,
comment. So
good.
that's been a really positive thing. However, the amount of people that vote in the first ward it's really small. And so there's far less people, there's far more people living in the ward than actually come out and vote. So I am concerned about the amount of people that will come out and vote, only because there are far more people in the ward. So I want to know. I'm curious about why the ward is not voting in larger numbers.
But to the extent that they or there, it seems to be that you're going to have a fairly good turnout of votes this time around. It concerns me because we know that that's what's going to bring us. Well, I won't say back. I don't know if we ever want to go back, but moving us forward from where we are now is to have the votes. And so if people are saying, well, votes don't count and all that kind of, still using that as a reason for not getting off their hind part and vote, we are going to have to figure out how to get the message to those people that their votes do count. Otherwise, people wouldn't be in the, so seriously trying to keep our votes, keep the voting away from us.
Well, so this is a primary election. So that means between now, June 2nd and November, that's a great opportunity to energize the base and educate the base
Right.
and get voters registered and educate them about why it's important to get out and vote. So that said, the primary election is equally as important as the general election, but the general election is in November. So that gives all of us having this conversation, anyone listening, that gives us an opportunity to really rally the people together and get them
Yes.
out to vote.
Right.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Very
Okay.
good.
I think Norm, if I could bring my folks up again for last time, I'll appreciate it. Okay. Same people, and Sheila Bird, Hello Villagers, Joy Jackson, Juanita, Robert, Clyde. we are just so appreciative. I bring you all up because I want you to know how much we appreciate, and you know you can pass the word on because this show, Unapologetic Amateur, looking for experts in Africanism, it's just that we are looking for folks who will bring us together. We are in a situation now where we are just kind of in limbo about who we are in a lot of ways. That's why we have ourselves in positions to point fingers at each other, not like what this one is doing or criticizing this one, but it's because we have not been tended to the injury that have been perpetrated against us. And from this show, you all know my villagers, I always let you know, this show is about restoration. We have been, we have gone through not just a crime. Slavery was not a crime. I keep making that point.
Right.
It was an injury
Yeah.
afflicted upon us. And if you got an injury, just like, and I use the metaphor, the virus. When that came through, we all knew right away, and if we didn't know right away, we soon know that there needed to be someone who had studied. Because when our president at the time, 2020, the same one that you got now, when he came up with the suggestion that we inject ourselves with bleach or inject whomever with bleach, we knew right away it wasn't, we couldn't depend on him, and he was the most powerful man in the world at that time. United States president, she was that powerful.
Right.
But we understood that we couldn't go to Kanye West because sometimes that's what we do as African people, and it's no fault of our own. Again, I'm not blaming us because we've been affected, if we've been injured. We need our experts. That's why I named the show Unapologetic
That's
Amateur,
right.
looking for experts and specialists that have studied us. Looking for the John Henry Clarks of the world, looking for the Dr. Jeffries, we're looking for the Dr. McGraw. You know, they have done the studying. What I'm suggesting we do now is to do as other serious illnesses and things have done, create institutions, create schools, study it as it is something to be studied,
Right.
not just an individual thing, but an institutionalized kind of effort
Right.
put forth that we can be tended to. So for you all, my villagers, you all know that is my aim here, just to make sure we bring people on that will see or help us meet the goal of restoration. That's my whole, that's my one of the focus point of the podcast, is for us to bring our experts and specialists together to create an air and not just an atmosphere, because we got to learn that we need it, but to create the facilities that will help us get through what we have been through. I say all that because I have to. Because when I leave here, people will ask me, well, what do you mean by expert? We got experts. And I said, no,
Yes.
I'm saying specialty.
Yes.
You know, if I would go to a cardiologist, he may be in association with the oncologist, but that doesn't mean he knows the oncology business.
Right.
You know, he knows his business. So we need people who know the Africanism business of what we went through and how we're going to restore ourselves to get back
Because
to
we
who
need
we
a
were.
plan,
Yep.
a sustainable,
Yeah.
effective,
Yeah.
advocate
Yeah.
plan.
With experts and experts.
That's
So
right.
I am so pleased, Dr.
she's
Yasmin Griffin, that
Yes.
you came on for us, and we're going to get the message out that, you know, well, we know that, as you said, and as we've heard, politics is local, so we really got to get out and do some voting.
Yes.
And to the extent that I am again so pleased that our young people are coming forward, and this young person is good, you know, because it's an effort. You know, it's not just easy to get out and put everything else aside for the people, and that's
Right.
what you're doing.
And it's
for the
laborious,
people.
and she's doing
Yeah,
it.
Yeah. So we're pleased and very thankful that you're doing it.
Yes.
For my folks out there, I thank you all so much for watching always, and God bless.
Yes.
Is there any thing left that you will
Last
minute say?
words?
We're having a block party on May 23rd on Sumner Avenue. So come and meet me.
All
If you want to
right.
talk,
Okay.
you want to get to know me.
Yeah.
Also, go out and vote on June 2nd, column 1E.
All right, you got it.
You got it. Okay. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. Grateful.
Thank you for
most
having
grateful.
me.